What is going on, guys? Jason Library from Library Outdoors. I'm out here in central Minnesota with my large Eskimo 850 Outbreak, and I am using it for spearing. So let me give you a quick run through of how I have it laid out. It is a crazy large shack, especially for spearing, but it gives you the opportunity to have a few extra people in there, as well as have a huge hole. So check it out. So here we are inside the Eskimo 850XD. This is the layout that I use for spearing. So as you can see, there is a ton of room here. You can easily have 4 people in here very comfortably. This side of the shack, I have the main hole, which is just past the halfway point of the shack, so that will keep things lined up really well with all the decoy setup that I have here, which I'll go through in a minute. This hole is very large. It is definitely the bathtub size hole. So this hole is about 5.5 feet, give or take, by about 2.5 to 3 feet wide. So very big hole that allows 2 to 4 people to spear here very easily. Right now I have 2 spears located diagonally from each other. So one guy would be spearing here, one guy spearing over there. That allows you to actually see under the ice to let each other know when the fish are coming in. So ideally, this guy over here would spear the fish that are on this edge. That guy would spear the fish that are on that edge. You could obviously throw in 2 more spears and kind of take turns that way, or just hand over the spear as you go. For this shack, I do run the Big Buddy heater. Most of the time, I will run it on medium. Right now I have it on high just because the sun's going down. We're done spearing, so that's hooked up to a 20-pound tank outside. The chairs I do like on the corners, so then if you're actually spearing here, you can kind of straddle the hole like this, which allows you to sit a little closer while having the leg support here. I would not recommend having the full width of the shack, because this allows you some space, like I said, for your leg, some for the spears, that kind of stuff. If you need to walk along there, that edge is a little bit wider. That allows you to do that. You also have 2 doors on this shack, which is very convenient for spearing. So one smaller door here, which is the D shape, the old school style. Then over on that side is the larger full size walk-through door. So that one's really nice for loading all your gear in, all that kind of stuff. That's why I also have that side of the shack as the larger side. So there's a table, those kind of things over there. So that actually gives you room to have kitchen space or some snacks, a cooler, whatever else you want over there. So this is the general layout I use. 2 spears in the corner, 4 chairs if there's 4 people, a heater on medium-ish. Then to help with the heat and to keep your hole open and provide heat across the shack, I actually run a rechargeable ceiling fan. This thing is awesome. It's a 30,000 milliamp rechargeable. So it does have a light. I typically use the lights in these fans because I want it mainly for the fan. This one has a remote if you want to use it, and it oscillates back and forth, as you can see. That helps you take all this hot air that's coming up this way, and then it actually blows it down and across the shack, so it really circulates a lot of that air really good. Now hopping over here, one of the most important pieces of equipment for spearing is how you rig up all your decoy stuff. There's all sorts of forums and posts about this, like, oh, how do you rig it in a pop-up? How do you rig it in a pop-up? This method is the best method I think that exists. So maybe biased because I developed it, but this is my favorite method. It's very universal and it's very adjustable. So what's really key with this is you need these upper holes to be over your hole. So if you had this hole basically lined up with where the seam actually comes together here, there's no pulls there. So for that situation, it won't work. Where it does also work very well is if you have like a hole against the wall, because again, these poles will come down that way, so you can rig it across any of these V-shaped poles. Where there's a bit of a challenge is if you have the hole right over the center of the hub, you can run it, at a 45 with the poles. Otherwise, there is an adapter that I've used from Clam. Basically, it's a 2-rod holder that you mount to the hubs, and this rod will fit in between there. So I'll show you a picture of that adapter. Now that I have this all rigged up, I know when I'm planning how I'm cutting my hole and laying out the shack, I know these bars need to line up, so that's what I plan for. So that's the Decoy setup, which I think is one of the most important rigging systems that you need to figure out for your shack. So last end of the shack is this end where you come in with a larger door. So on this side I do have a small folding table. This one's 40 by 20. That allows you to keep any of your cooking stuff on there if you want a stove or anything like that. Drinks and your gear stuff, your tackle boxes, those kind of things. This one was a rental, so I do have a fire extinguisher on there. I do have first aid kit, CO detector, that kind of stuff in here as well. Underneath, I have a garbage, a very simple garbage with a bucket, and then kind of an emergency lug-a-loose style bathroom. So if the client or anybody needs to use that. That's that setup. The shack is awesome. It is a bit of an animal, so if you are going to use it for spearing, it's a great opportunity. Make sure you have a few buddies help you. If you're having to cut a larger hole and haul the extra gear out, the chairs, that kind of stuff too. So yeah, it works really well though, and it's really fun once it's all situated. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. One thing I forgot to add earlier is I do tie my spears up. Those are tied off with paracord. What I do with that is tie it off to the rods on the pop-up as well. Never had an issue with it. Plenty of slack. So it's not like as you throw the spear, it's going to rip your shack in or anything. So make sure you have enough line there, and that works really well too. Thanks for tuning into this video. If you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in any spear house rentals, just let me know. Feel free to contact me either through the website or any of the social media forms. Thanks.